And Toby is apparently choking.
Yeah. That's what you get when you try to rush salmon.
Salmon. I don't have a clear idea how this episode's gonna go. This is the challenge of the request queue sometimes. It's just like, okay, we'll go for it and like see.
Mm-hmm. It's a super warm day though.
Yeah, kind of want the aircon, but it's too late now.
Excuse me. Man, super slimmy. I saw Adrian through a heart. Hopefully that means they're able to join. Yes, hey Adrian.
Hello.
Hey Mitch. Mitch is asleep. I presume Jeanette's there as well. Oh man, it's really stuck there.
Toby has a very delicate throat.
Yeah.
He's lived a life of privilege
Yeah,
and soft food.
and ice cream.
Wow. Let's ride this story. Okay.
When the Lunar New Year passes, the weather turns, according to Adrian. I did not get tikoy this year. Oh no, I did from your mom.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I got the pre-packaged processed tikoy, which was interesting because it felt like tiny fingers. It was like soft with a bony center. So when you're eating it, you're like, what?
You know, when I was in kindergarten in the US, they had this huge preamble, and they're like, okay, class, there's a special treat that we're going to all try, and they're called ladies' fingers. So before we eat, let's thank all the ladies who gave their fingers today.
Why couldn't I have had teachers like
We're
that?
like, what? Miss Bamba, I will remember you forever.
But
Man, is she Miss Bamba or Miss E Bamba? I
but
can't
the
remember.
lady fingers were the broas, right?
Practically, yeah. But this in the US, they were soft.
So
They were like more like Twinkies.
so was
practically.
broas the local term for it or a brand?
I think it
Or
could
was
be a
lady
Spanish.
fingers the brand? I wonder. With my finger.
Lady fingers is really what the pastry is called.
So maybe broas was a brand that had prepackaged lady fingers. In English, British English, it was sponge fingers. Italian was something else.
In the Philippines, broas.
Can you click it? Is it a link? Maybe it's a brand.
It linked to Mamon.
Derived from the Portuguese broa. Okay, it's a language
Hello,
thing.
RJ.
Hey RJ, lady fingers is that another name for okra? Yes, I believe in vegetables they do call okra lady fingers.
But then, Adrian, don't you would like to refer to the ends of okra as like hats and shoes? I remember we had this conversation many years ago. Like when you cut off the hats and the shoes.
But then in Junior MasterChef, okra,
Rocket. Are we doing an episode with Tea Time Food? Are we doing another episode about food I can't eat? Oh my gosh, Let, hello!
Let! We love you. We miss you. Pet mo na. So let us know if you need help. So, yeah, we should start because our episode's about sleep. This is Toby.
Good night. I was ready for that.
This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. 145 episodes in, and this is the first time we're talking about sleeping. Because this was a topic sent to us by
Carlo.
Carlo.
Why?
Because sleep isn't
Actually, the episode, his request was sleep, exclamation point. He also suggested dreams.
well. I think we'll tackle sleep first. I don't know if dreams deserves its.
Dreams is a separate topic.
Yes, dreams deserves its.
Your
own-
topic, your dreams deserve their own episode. I don't even have an episode. It's just doing with Toby's dreams.
dreams will have its own episode
Good night. No.
because that will feature the chorus. So, sleeping. All about sleeping. I guess habits, thoughts, feelings, practices,
Sleep is nice.
tools, and aids. See, that's what we can cover for a topic for sleep. So
I'm
let's.
married to an elephant.
Oh, you mean the CPAP? I thought you meant something else. So, swimming trunks. Yeah. Sleeping. When did you first realize you needed to sleep?
What kind of a question is
No,
that?
the conscious realization of, oh man, I really need to sleep. Because normally, sleeping is forced upon us as kids.
That's
You know,
true.
Tulog ka na, it's late na, and all this and that. Or were you the type who actually went to bed before your parents tell you to?
No. We had an enforced bedtime. I was
Mhm.
normally reading
Mhm.
too much or something.
Same here. I was the ever famous person who never slept on time. And even if I would be tucked in bed, I'd have my flashlight and comic books under the bed.
Oh, I couldn't pull that off. They checked.
So when do you remember to be your first conscious I want to sleep?
Oh, I don't think that was like too late in life. I
Mhm.
mean, there were definitely a lot of busy days growing up that like at the end, like, okay, sleep would be great now.
Mhm.
So I don't think that, I mean, it's probably a grade school thing. I can't peg it to a specific event. Why? Is there such a memorable event for you?
Well, I just can't help but feel like for most of my life, because I was also someone that people had difficulty waking up.
That was me.
But that was never because I wanted to sleep in terms of a conscious effort. It was just because I was asleep and I didn't want to be woken up. I think the closest I ever had this, I really wanted to sleep as a conscious thing, was when it was a trip. We were going out of town and I started dreaming. And in the dream, I was doing my own thing at the mall, at the arcade.
Okay.
And then they were waking me up.
Okay.
And I was so annoyed. I wanted to go back to sleep to go back.
This is a regular theme for you. We've had many conversations like this where you're like, you keep wanting to go back to sleep because the dream was so fascinating.
That's true. But we'll talk about dreams as a separate episode.
Good night.
But yes, I do tend to have very vivid dreams. So sleep for me was not as important as the dreams themselves. In many cases, I was even more annoyed that I had to sleep.
That's funny though, because I barely remember dreams. So it's
Mm.
never been part of my sleep cycle. Sleeping is required, it's functional, I do feel better after sleeping. But admittedly, as time has gone by, I have noticed that I have needed less sleep.
Mhm.
These days I average, I'd like to say 6 hours, but it's
Mhm.
not true. My Fitbit tells me 5 at best. So that's a thing. Like I thought I'd be getting more sleep or whatever. So I can't. I think ever since like high school to go to, I haven't been able to get a solid 8 hours of sleep anymore because
Mhm.
schoolwork would just get in
And
the
you
way.
also do wake up. It's rare.
That's
that you
only
don't.
now. I wasn't a waking up early person before.
Mm.
I mean, for school I had no choice, but I was also very difficult to wake up. But now I wake up a lot better, which is kind of fascinating.
Mhm.
So it's like things have really turned around, and I don't know precisely why.
Adrian mentions
Yeah.
sleep is a highly political topic.
Why?
What's BION?
I don't know.
Is that a back in our something?
You whippersnappers and these newfangled acronyms, we don't know what you're talking
Adrian, what
about.
does BION mean?
Is it bios but not?
Because I was thinking back in our time that it's BIOT.
Yep.
Back in our nights, I don't know. Mitch says sleep is an indulgence I neglected when I was a kid. Now I long for it. I get that, but I still okay. I ultimately feel like I'm wasting time when I sleep. I know it's important. I know it's good to have, you know, time for your body to recover and regenerate and all that. But I always feel like I want to do stuff. I have so much things I want to do. I have stuff I want to accomplish. I have stuff to write, stuff to play, stuff to read, stuff to watch. And I always feel like sleep's like in the way.
I kind of get that. Okay. Oh, believe it or not. Wow.
Okay, that's new. I've never realized BION would equal
Oh,
believe it or not.
Adrian. Again, you with your newfangled slang.
Oh, Adrian. So web savvy now. No, I think we just didn't know that that was a term for it. It's probably like, you know, TLDR.
Toby, that is a thing. That's been around for a while. What are you talking about? Okay. Wow. Rich Lopez and YouTube ask, what's the earliest you wake up compared to the latest? It depends. Do you count wake up, or like I had to go to the bathroom, wake up? Because especially during this cold snap, I have had very annoying old man. I've been waking up at like 5, 6 a.m. to go to the bathroom, and then I go back to
But
sleep.
that's a tricky thing. So when you say the earliest you wake up, are you in reference, speaking in reference to from the point of sleep, or are you speaking in reference to the clock? Because there are times that, let's say, you
This is
have
Tobying the
no,
question.
no. But seriously, you might have to wake up at 1 a.m. for the flight, for example.
Mm.
But then you've slept at 7, so it's not that bad. Compared to, let's say, you have to wake up at 10 p.m. for the flight, but then, you know, you're just about to sleep at 7 or 8. So there's that.
I think the average expectation of the question is like, on average, what's the earliest that you typically wake
So
up?
wouldn't that just be past midnight as the earliest?
Is that your normal sleep cycle? Do you normally expect to wake up right after midnight? Is that how we're going to answer this question?
So it's a Christmas answer then. You know, it's past 12, wake up, yay, open gifts. I know not in your family.
No, that's not what we did. We would wake up at like 6 or 7 in the morning like normal people. I don't know about you.
And then
Okay.
latest you woke up, I hate those days when you end up waking up and it's past 24 hours of sleep. And it's that parang
What?
you wake up and it's dark and you look at, let's say you look at the time and you look at the time and it's 6 and you're not sure if it's 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. and you're like freaking out.
You've slept a day?
Yeah.
How could you have slept a day? Are you sure you slept a day?
We had that time when we played a game through Holy Week. So we played for 3 days straight.
Okay, that I think that justifies it. Because the wake up is completely conscious and your day has started. Still not in the context of that you presented. But yeah, so I think on average, well, realistically, I'm like awake at by 8. But then on better days, I wake up at 7 on average.
Yeah.
If we manage our sleeping at night, right? Admittedly, we've been staying up late sometimes, and that's like a bit of a struggle.
Adrian says, welcome to my world, Toby. Mitch says, wake up if you have early morning flights like 2 a.m. And that's the thing, see, because Rocky and I,
We have different approaches to dealing with this.
we prefer to be at the airport up to 3 hours before the flight time.
That is true.
So if it's 2 a.m., we will actually leave even before midnight. We would rather wait and
We'd be
waste
waiting for the gate to open rather than
Worry about
rushing.
traffic.
Yeah, about being late. And then, and I think between us, like whenever it's that question of, do I stay up or do I nap? On average, I always feel more comfortable staying up because I'm very nervous about oversleeping.
Yes.
Which is funny. As much as I say that I don't need a lot of sleep, but then when I sleep, I sleep.
Oh, Adrian says he just made it up. The BIOM. That actually works.
I don't know if it's gonna catch on.
I'll start using it at work. I'll actually buy on blah 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 blah, and I'll wait for them to ask. Nick
RJ
says,
asks, "What's your idea of a perfect sleep? Long hours or feeling light and energized when you wake up?" Over 6 is fine for me. I mean, and I've been looking at my Fitbit stuff, and like even if I clock in 6 hours, sometimes it'll track my awake minutes. So technically, like it says, "Oh, you actually slept 5 and change. You know, you didn't really sleep a solid 6 hours." But if I do cross over
mhm.
6 hours of actual sleep, I'm pretty good. Apparently, that happened this morning, which included that I woke up, I went to the bathroom, and then I lay down like, oh, it's only 8, and I lay down beside Toby, and it's 9. So I hate that.
I have that a lot. The idlip an hour has passed.
Yes, you have that
It's
a lot
freaky.
because I get up and then I go through the morning bathroom, and then I'll be like, Toby, what time do you have to wake up? And then I'll start debating if I'm going to work out. And then that's normally me pacing the house a bit. And then I start working out. And then midway, I'm like, oh no, Toby's still not out of bed. And then I'll be like, Toby, it's time, whatever. And I'll try to catch him in between reps or sets, so which is difficult because then I have like 30-second recovery. Toby, wake up! It's 9:30, and then I'll go back. And so, yeah.
Now I
that's our
have those
struggle.
moments wherein I'd be awake enough to realize something, and then I literally feel like I blinked, and it's an hour later. So stuff like I get my phone, I look at it, it's 8:30, and then I just put my phone down. And then when I look at it 9, it's stuff like that. I really, black out deep asleep between those moments.
Do you have those moments as much as before? Given you now use a CPAP,
No. Now I feel I'm lucid in many occasions.
define.
Like I'm aware you're in the bathroom, so I'm like aware that if I wake up, then I'll have to hold my pee longer because I know you're still in there.
So you'll sleep.
So I'll just let myself sleep. Stuff like that. There are those more conscious moments that I know my body's still asleep, but I'm kind of more awake. But I don't feel as fresh awake as I was in the first few months of CPAP. I think because it was so large a change, it felt so distinct.
Mm.
But now I'm sort of like plateauing again, so I don't know if I have to adjust my settings.
We are at 10.
Oh my gosh, who thought sleep would bring us to guys?
Or maybe people just like later episodes. I don't know.
Thank you for having that many viewers tonight. Yay! Two guys super happy. Batteries
Yeah.
pair of Ed and David. Yes, hey Aina. So wait, there was a question earlier that I was looking to answer, but where was it?
Well, Mitch mentions that there's the moment of confusion if it's AM or PM, and the first thing I thought is, oh my god, I missed 2 meals. Haha. But it's AM, maulan lang.
Hey Aina.
That's a valid concern.
Oh yeah, so RJ's question, if I think a perfect sleep is long hours or feeling light and energized when I wake up. For me, it's, cuddle time. It's that waking up and still feeling there's someone in your arms. And, it's cold enough that, you feel cold because you're naked, but because you're cuddling, so it feels warm. And it's that nice middle spot.
You always feel cold though. Whether or not you're wearing clothes, you're always cold.
I'm always cold. I'm a lizard.
Based on the temperature, then I'll know like, oh, I won't have a boyfriend today because he's gonna cocoon into the blanket. And then it's the one moment you're talking, and then like when you turn, you're facing a blanket covered person. It used to be surprising in the early days, but not so much now. Okay, Rich has a statement. You've mentioned being used to waking up early. Have you tried waking up late, as in 9 to 10? I'm usually up around 5 to 6 a.m. and I try to wake up on weekends, but the latest I'm up is 7 to 8. To be fair, I have no problem waking up late on weekends.
Mhm.
But the caveat is we tend to stay up until 2 or 3 in the morning starting Friday night.
Mhm.
So it kind of balances out. But whatever time I sleep, I notice that at the 6 hour mark, I
Yeah.
will wake up.
Same here. 5-6 hours seems to be the
6 or 7. You you cannot claim that you get up at 5 to 6 because I am up at 5 to 6. You are another hour after that.
Because I turned to let you go up first.
That's not it. You're so asleep, Phil. You're just rationalizing it.
Mhm.
And my conversations with you or you don't even justify proof as you being awake or not. Okay. But yeah, so weekends I tend to wake up 11 or 12,
Mhm.
which always annoys me to some degree because that means I missed my first Fitbit step interval. Because between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m., I have to hit 250 steps per hour. So when that happens, then it's like, I miss steps. Or there are a few times that I'll wake up, go to the bathroom, and then like it's 10, and then I start debating, will I stay awake, um, or will I stay awake and hit my steps, or will I go back to bed? I have sort of done both. Where like if I wake up past 10 on a weekend, and then I'll do steps, and I'll probably do steps up until the 11 o'clock interval, and then I'll
Mhm.
join Toby back in bed. So then I'm like covered for 10 from 10 to 11 and 11 to 12, and then we'll be lazy in bed for a while, and then I'll read or play my games, and then waiting for Toby to wake up, and then um but then come 12, then I start thinking about, oh crap, I have to do my steps. So admittedly, my fitness goals and my Fitbit have become a weird little prompt that regulates my sleep to some degree. Huh. Okay. Adrian, would it be a good idea to introduce the idea of split sleep? Actually, I hate it when sleep splits. So when I wake up to go to the bathroom and then I have to go back to sleep, there are times that I can't get back to sleep. I'm too awake. Or like if I didn't just have to pee and I had to like really use the bathroom, which either gets me engaged on my phone or reading whatever book I have parked in the bathroom, then it kind of wakes your brain up, and then it's so hard to get back to sleep. And I know that even if I hit 6 hours in the split, it never feels as satisfying versus if I slept straight. So when I do wake up to go to the bathroom, it's a rush to like just use the bathroom efficiently, not make a mess, get back into bed, go back to sleep because I want to like continue that cycle. What about you? Split sleep.
So I think it was my norm before the CPAP because I would literally drift off to sleep in the middle of the day.
Oh, that's true.
For a while, I thought I might be slightly narcoleptic or something like that because it was literally
Yeah.
drifting off. And yet, there are times my mind was conscious and angry that I was drifting off.
Mm.
But since the CPAP, I think I've rarely had it na save for those times we've had really late nights. And I still get tired in the middle of the day. But um, yeah, I think for most of my life, I thought that was the norm because I didn't like sleeping so much. But I would have those middle of the day suddenly just falling apart and falling asleep. Now, I don't know if
You also
it's
don't drool as much.
better. Yeah, that's true. I kind of learned also to keep my mouth closed while sleeping.
Well, with
So-
the CPAP.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
conscious effort,
Uh-uh.
but I don't feel the effort anymore. But yeah, and Adrian adds studies say ancestors slept for 4 hours, did stuff for two, then stuff. Yeah.
So
and-
was that effective for you based on personal experience?
Hey, no, but
I'm kidding.
my view always in terms of that is, we also have to keep in mind that they lived at a very different time, wherein at a certain point in the afternoon it is dark. So they didn't really have the advantage of working all the way to the wee hours of the night and all that.
Mm.
So they didn't really, the idea of
You follow the more natural rhythms because when it's dark, you become less active.
because one can argue that you'd have people in certain areas of the hemisphere where nights and days are a longer cycle,
Mm-mm.
and their sleep cycles are even more fragmented than just the sleep nap sleep sort of approach. So an environment is a large factor, the situation is a large factor. Aina mentioned some CPAP comments.
She just said something she forgets her CPAP when she's super tired.
Mhm.
So does Toby. Or like we'll be cuddling and then I'll be like, CPAP, CPAP. Because and what that means is we're cuddling in the middle of it. He starts snoring. Like, no, CPAP, get your CPAP.
And then
I'm the CPAP police.
I have had mornings I wake up and I'm like, my CPAP's off. I must have removed it at some point and went back to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
His alternate self removes the CPAP in the early
Okay,
hours.
that is for a different episode. That cannot be.
That's
for
an
this.
episode on its own. Okay. Mitch is like, did your sleep pattern change because of the pandemic? Actually, I think to some degree mine did because I feel like I was more consistently waking up earlier, even earlier pre-pandemic, but that's also because I had to get to the gym
Mhm.
by 8. So I was really consciously waking up at 7
Mhm.
to get ready
Yeah.
so that I could walk over to the gym and work out. But then now that I've been working out at home, despite paying for my gym again, I'm okay to wake up at 8, and then I still have enough time to work out before my shift. So that's a minor adjustment.
I think a large part of what shifted our sleeping habits as well is the loss of a social life outside of the condo.
That's true.
Because
too.
since we don't step out anymore, whether it's movies or to O bar or to just see friends, we sort of then kind of are happier to close the day at a certain point in time. Whereas before, we're more willing to push the hours, we're more willing to, we'll go for last screening in the movie and we'll be home by 2. And it's fine because we wanted to see the movie.
Yeah.
Now we're like, let's head for bed by 1:30 because we haven't stepped out anyway, so might as well rest. So it's that sort of thing.
There is that. I mean, pre-pandemic, definitely Friday nights. Starting Friday night, we would be up late, whether it is O bar or gaming. We would be awake up until 4 or 5, and then get home, wake up around lunch, and then get ready for the next social activity, which could be gaming starting at like the afternoon or O bar again in the evening. Be up until 4 or 5 in the morning, and then go home. And then Sunday night, we'd course correct so that we wouldn't be too beat up for work.
And then there was also the no matter how late we were the previous night, we had to wake up early because we had plays to watch.
Yeah. No,
I
but
miss those.
I always made sure that we watched afternoon matinees. We didn't have morning stuff.
No, we had some morning ones.
Not many.
We had. I didn't say they all were. I said we.
Blame PETA.
Save the animals. Anyway,
So
wrong PETA.
but yeah, I mean, like, so the lack of all that is that then by default so I know now, like, I get as it gets midnight, like I'm winding down. It's like before we'd be going steady, and now it's like, oh, I guess we're gonna sleep, So
Adrian says siestas are a good thing. There is that power nap with coffee thing that I read about. That you should have coffee then nap, because that's when you.
Or is that something I read about and told you about recently because you had a nap like that?
I think I read it also again later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long is the nap supposed to be?
20 minutes.
30. Unless we read different articles. Yeah, but they do say that the caffeinated power nap, which is having a cup of coffee and then sleeping for 30 minutes and then waking up, then it's like the maximum effect for your caffeine
Because the caffeine gets to.
process a bit more and then you feel a bit more rejuvenated.
Mhm.
But I know many people argue that, but it's so hard to nap for 30 minutes, which is true. So that's the problem. You must wake up at 30 minutes. If you turn it into a 1 hour nap, then it's not as effective. Then you start going into your other sleep cycle, and it's too short for that more effective
And
sleep
then if
cycle.
you're in a flight that's crossing time zones, you might never wake up because 30 minutes might stretch. So Mitch says, when was the last time you had a good sleep?
I slept well today, this morning, because today was the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. No, but we slept more on time, and then yeah, according to my Fitbit, I clocked in 6 hours and 45 minutes of actual sleep, which is fascinating. But it did count 36 minutes of awake time, including a trip to the bathroom. But it's funny because I had two awake periods, one like 4 in the morning, and then the 8 o'clock, which I don't know. So I still don't know what to do with like my Fitbit sleep data, because then I'll be like, ooh, I know that I spend 25% in REM sleep and 53% in light sleep. And then what? So I don't know what to do with that. My 30-day average is that I'm 12% awake, 23% in REM, 52% in light sleep, and 13% in deep sleep. Ah, okay. RJ's like, are there days when you have trouble sleeping? What do you do then? For him, he listens to podcasts. Now, I read a lot about this only because I've always been in a weird position to try to give advice to people about sleep. I don't know why, but there were cases when I would have to.
Oh, is this gonna be the Lego thing that we hear sometimes now?
No, that's different. That was just playing around.
Okay.
But the biggest tips normally for when you have trouble sleeping is one is to establish a sleeping schedule.
The pattern helps.
You need to have regularity of sleep. So if the sleep is irregular to begin with, then it becomes a problem. And then the biggest one, which I know is hardest for a lot of us, is reducing device usage.
Yes.
So ideally, you should not have screen exposure in the 1 hour before you're going to sleep.
Even if you have it on blue light or whatever.
Yeah, just in
doesn't matter.
general, cut down device usage in the 1 hour before you're gonna sleep.
Mhm.
And then the one that always fascinated me is for the most part, reserving the bedroom or the bed for sleep. And if you are having trouble sleeping and you're tossing and turning in bed, they actually recommend that you get out of bed, do something else, and then when you're feeling tired again, that's when you lie down and try to sleep. Because if you stay in bed tossing and turning and struggling to sleep, then you start to build an association in your brain that you don't have to sleep in bed.
Mhm.
So it's weird, but it has some truth to it, I think.
There's also, of course, controlling the noise level. There's temperature, everything from fluffing your pillow, making sure it's cool enough, because it's too cold or too warm, it's going to be harder to relax. There's some exercises, some even recommend that clench everything bit by bit and then release.
Before, my thing in trying to sleep is I try to imagine the blackest color of black that I can think of. And I imagine that blackness filling up my mind's eye so that it's totally devoid.
That's terrifying. I've had nightmares like that.
But I don't know. That always worked for me. Like, I'll just calm and I'll just focus on filling. I'll keep my eyes closed, but not tightly closed, and just imagine darkness spreading
So
out.
Rocky's describing what I have experienced when I lose consciousness when I faint. But there was a time I was practicing the, you start with the forehead, squint, release, and then mouth, squint, release, and then neck, and then chest, and all the way down to your toes. And I used to do that because it helped me deal with my cramping. Because I tend to be someone who doesn't drink enough water, so I tend to suffer from cramps at night.
And I feel like the pre-CPAP period also was a factor in the cramps.
And so the muscle relaxing thing was something I used to do. I never was used to music. Oh, that is our first 30 minutes. I was never used to having music playing. I know there was a time I wanted to like have music playing in the background, but it always annoyed me because I get into the music. And then
have I been weirding you out with my occasional white noise experiment?
A bit, but I just let it slide. I just decide to go with the flow. But admittedly, there is that, okay, it's Lego bricks today, or it's static. which is like static. I guess it's relaxing. I'm thinking Silent Hill. Look,
I'm sorry.
and then and then it sounds of rain. I'm thinking of the day there was a storm. That's the thing about it. There's the difference of association, but then you can wipe away the association and just let it be because it is relaxing.
And I'm not like super into white noise, but when I'd be over in Singapore with my sister, and because she had a baby
Mhm.
and she had all these white noise machines, and I shared that room for a while. It's like, hey, this isn't bad.
Mhm.
It's like it kind of helps.
And it isn't. I guess for me, it's just that I noticed the loop.
Yeah,
So then, shh, and then there's a brief moment, and I'm like, I heard that.
that's why there's that one not the Lego playlist, but there's another playlist I found that I think had longer. It's like 30-minute loops, so it wasn't so bad.
Hey,
Um,
oh my gosh, it's Mon and Tom. Hey, Mon, hey, Tom. We miss you guys.
but yeah, for like yeah, and the Lego thing was just an experiment because oh my god, Lego made a white noise playlist,
Mhm.
which is kind of weird. Not all the tracks work for me.
Okay, Mick says the after meal snooze.
I do not do that.
I don't like eating heavy then sleeping. I know I've done that because I was drunk, but I've always regretted it. Because it's always this yucky feeling afterwards when you wake up that, you feel so bloated and so heavy.
So wait,
Uh,
Tom had the question of what affected your current sleeping patterns the most: lifestyle, work, personal choice, age, or other reasons.
mm,
I mean, I could encapsulate most of it into lifestyle.
yeah.
I mean, like that's a pretty sweeping term in terms of like how we choose to live our
Yeah,
life.
because you have your workouts as part of your lifestyle choices. Me, it's the CPAP. Um, so the CPAP has an app, and since it tracks this one didn't update because it's the phone that I usually update. Since it tracks the usage, it's too bright. I feel guilty when I can see it's low. So there you can see there it's not. Some of them are really low bars because there have been times that the machine doesn't record it right,
Hmm.
or as we
Or
noticed,
you ghost took it off.
yeah. So
Or if we sleep too late, it logs the sleep hours on a different day.
and it messes things up. So, but having it measured on the app makes me feel bad if I don't like what it looks like. So I get guilty.
This is my life with my Fitbit. Because don't expect what you don't inspect. Okay, so wow, Rich is apparently on the other side of the world because it's 6:17
Oh my
a.m. where
gosh.
he is.
Good
He
morning.
is struggling to stay awake, but he's watching a stream about sleep. Thank you for watching, but really, should you be watching? You should be sleeping. Okay.
In terms of waking up, it always helps to get your blood circulating. Quick push-ups, jumping jacks, drink water, use the bathroom.
Just walk.
Yeah, just get your body moving, get your
Go
blood flowing.
Tamagotchi and start generating steps.
Adrian comments, blackest black imaginable. Only if you're not Amish Kapoor. Yeah, I was about to say that. I just forgot his name. The guy who bought the blackest black and forbade anyone else from using it.
Mm.
So they came up with the pinkest pink or something. Or was it vice versa? I forget. Adrian adds, I find the sound of rain lulls me to sleep. That's true. I get that. There's something comforting about it if it's just the right amount of rainfall sounds. But if it becomes a bit stronger, you start worrying about it going in the house.
Yeah, and it's like so that's and it's all admittedly the more recent white noise experiment because we got a Google Home unit in the bedroom, and then it was I just started having fun with it, and it's just hard though to pre-program it to play a particular white noise playlist because it sometimes goes off in its own direction and plays whatever, and so there are a lot of official white noise, sleeping noise playlists on Spotify. But as Toby mentioned, a lot of them include like 2-minute, 5-minute tracks. So yes, it's a little jarring when you can sense the jumps between tracks.
So Mon and Tom have obviously been having their little conversation on the comments page.
Hi.
And the topic is thanks. Um, so yes, that can help you sleep or can help wake you up, depending on when it happens.
I sleep pretty well after.
I also though sleep faster if it doesn't happen. But I was yeah. So
So I guess that's Toby's alternative for like if you're having trouble sleeping, blue balls.
I always thought it was because, blood was rushing and then no so it's like
I've literally seen this happen.
and
I have disappointed Toby, and then
no.
he gets knocked
Wait,
out.
wait. It's not your fault. It's also because me sometimes I just wrong timing.
Yeah.
Like Toby, I'm cooking. I'm like, and the next thing you know, he looks at him like. So yeah, that happens. Oh my gosh, Somnus has joined us.
And he is sleep with a name like Somnus.
Mon says the guy by the Pasig puts me to sleep. Ooh,
No, you know what he means, right? You do understand this reference.
I'm afraid to.
Oh, never
Is
mind.
it what I think it is?
I don't know. You think of weird things.
I know.
It's political.
Yes.
Are we thinking about the same political answer? I hope we are. Okay. So blue balls, anemic symptoms.
It, possibly
For
me.
Toby, it knocks him out. It's like,
Yeah, it does. It's funny.
okay, in my defense, it's because very mundane things gets Toby worked up.
Hey!
Like aforementioned, I'm just cooking, Toby.
Or doing dishes. Or folding laundry. Or toweling dry.
And I would love for these to be euphemisms for other things. They're not. I'm literally folding clothes. I'm like, no, I'm doing laundry. Totally like, oh my god, read the signs. So yeah.
Yeah,
that's
Mon says, if it doesn't happen, that would be so stressful. And Tom adds, since all the blood goes elsewhere. Yeah.
that's Toby's like working theory for it is that he gets excited, blood gets redirected, blood is unfulfilled, Toby goes to sleep.
Or maybe it's like sleep mode. Like the computer, you boot it, and then if no one uses it for a while, it shuts down the sleep mode until you nudge it.
It doesn't happen as much since the CPAP. All roads lead to the
Yes,
CPAP.
that's true. All roads lead to the CPAP.
It's super. I am happy that I got us down this path. I am so I'm so relieved because you do seem a lot better. Because
Yeah.
before
It's true.
before
that's true.
Toby got the CPAP, when oh my god, once like in other words, you're just a horny little boy. Yes, very much yes. Mon.
I'm Taurus. I'm the bull.
Okay,
Okay.
but admittedly,
yeah, since the
you
CPAP, I
since
have.
the CPAP, it's been so much better. Because before, I would wake Toby up for work, and then it could be an hour of
And-
getting him up.
And I would literally try to crawl out.
Yeah,
of bed.
and he'd be like hunched over, sitting up, but then he's super like his eyes are so heavy
Yeah,
he
and,
can't get
and
up.
I remember I don't have the strength to stand up, and I'm like, I feel like I'm drunk.
Yeah,
But now,
and it was getting really bad in the
Mm-mm.
last few years.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah. Hey, Karen.
and it so going back to the many other people asking about changes over the pandemic. Ironically, the CPAP was one of the changes over the
Yes.
pandemic
Yes.
because Toby finally got his CPAP after the strict lockdown was lifted. Then we were finally able to
And
procure
oh my
it.
gosh, that was such a change.
Mm-mm.
It was surprisingly freaky how much more awake I didn't realize I could feel.
Because I've seen Toby like in the middle of working, he's literally typing and then he just starts nodding off.
Which is why I really thought it was narcolepsy.
And full drooling, in the middle
Mhm.
of the day. So then I know he's like really asleep.
Yeah, that was bad. Those were bad moments. They were scary, actually.
Mm-mm. So yeah, so I'm glad that's been addressed, and then we just have to work on mask compliance and stuff. And I'll still have those, like, if I wake up to whistling and like the CPAP's on wrong, and then I'll just be like,
Yeah.
fix your mask.
Which I'm due to replace,
You
but,
should, you
but I'm still
okay.
Boy Scouting it.
Okay. He's bought 2 replacement masks already. They're waiting. They're like they're perfectly fine. The one he has, the plastic, kasi there's wear and tear. It does a crack, and then it's starting to fracture. So of course, this Bosconian decided to tape it up with just Scotch tape.
And it still works.
Arguable, because he's had to reinforce it already. Because the tape's not enough. Then he's taped it some more.
I just haven't gotten the courage to try melting it back together.
I think you should just open the damn bag of the new mask.
No. Those are prepared as backup in case the Philippines turns post-apocalyptic because of the little boy in Pasig. So
not little boy. All right.
I wasn't talking about his height. So
You.
yeah, sleep. What else about sleep? Clothes. Do you prefer to sleep with or without clothes? Honestly.
Obviously, I don't. I don't know how that started. I think that was like that was definitely a moving out of the house thing, and like freedom. And initially it was because of temperature. But now it's just I'm just more comfortable that way. I'm sorry. So I really will strip down for bed and then like good night.
I still prefer at least boxer shorts
Mm-mm.
because I end up getting things get stuck or caught on or crushed, and then it's ow, I wake up and then I adjust.
Well, that and the freaking woolly blanket that goes over it. So Toby can be naked, but then he'll have a very thick blanket over him, and then he starts, cocooning. My God. Tom's like, are these specialty masks? Yeah, it's a mask and a machine.
So if you look at CPAP machines, the Dream Station, there's different masks. It's a bit pricey, but oh my God, I honestly did not realize how comfy they would feel. And it takes a while to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's surprising how comfy it feels.
But you have to get diagnosed first.
Yes.
So you need to go through a sleep study.
Because it's not a cheap investment.
Yeah. Make sure it will help you. They have to determine if you have an actual sleep disorder.
And then in terms of sleeping, I know there are some people who are like, the feet have to be covered, or there has to be something on the head, or there has to be a weight on their body. There's stuff like that, right?
Yeah, they're weighted blankets.
There's different I guess sleeping habits that they've gotten used to.
So I don't know what happened to me, but at some point I suddenly came to appreciate a pillow at my feet. That was not a thing when I was a kid. But then living away from home, I started enjoying having a pillow at my feet. I have never liked having the pillows behind me too high. That's why I'm always like one pillow and that's good. If it's too fluffy, I'm annoyed.
I used to like being buried, which is why I had so many pillows.
Yes.
But I think when the breathing problems got worse, I stopped really burying myself because of the panic moments of really trying to breathe.
Rich was asking, did you try those nasal strips for snoring before the machine? We thought about it.
Yeah, I considered it, but then I realized I'm also the type of person whose nose gets irritated very easily.
That is true.
I'm
Again, very fancy bloodline.
No, like if the fan is aimed at me, I start sneezing because I don't like feeling the wind touching my nose. Which is what I was afraid of with the CPAP.
Yeah.
Because the mask does cover your nose, and then it does pressurize the whole thing. So I still have that initial point at time wherein I'm so irritated because it feels like there's someone nakaganyan the whole time. And you're like, I want to scratch it, I want to annoy it, but I've learned to just ignore it. So I was thinking having something clipped here or there was the other one that's clipped up here.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just gonna irritate me, or worse, I'm gonna start having sip on mucus and all that. So I didn't opt for that.
Oh, before that, also from a sleep perspective, man, Toby would snore, and that's a symptom in itself.
Mm.
I want to know more about my snoring though, because I'm I'm I know that before my sister would complain that I
Mhm.
snored a lot.
Now, not so much, but you still snored. You snored a lot more when you had more weight.
Mm.
And in my case, having had so many could not breathe, waking myself up moments snoring, when I notice you sounding similar, I start nudging you not to turn a certain way.
Mm.
So I have a
Okay.
lot of times now while you're sleeping, I'd be like turning you na, and you'll
You
wake
put me on
up.
my side.
And of course, when you wake up, you're like, love, love. And then you start pulling me, and I'm like, no, 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 sleep na, sleep. Because you also had that weird, you always pull my hand into your
This is not we're
into
going to
your
talk about into
into
this
your
episode.
crotch, which was an interesting thing to learn about you.
You didn't have to mention that on the stream, but okay. Ah, boy. Well, one has 4 pillows, 2 for the head, 1 to cuddle, and 1 between his knees.
That's close to ours.
Yeah.
Although now
The
we've
bolster
okay,
serves that
so
purpose.
so I did used to have around 4 pillows,
Yes.
and then I gave you like I think an extra pillow or 2 pillows, and you were like, "There's so many pillows. There's no space in the bed." But then when we moved here, we kind of cut down. So because I there used to be 3 bolster pillows in bed.
Yes. And I swear, every time we're at the department store and we walk by the home section and there's a pillow sale, Toby's like, hey, we can get new pillows. And like, but you're not going to get rid of the old ones. You're just going to add to the overall number of pillows.
It's fun. But yeah, so like Mon, now we're reduced to 2 plus a bolster. So we have our head pillow. We have
Technically, we have 2 head pillows and 2 extra pillows, the feet pillows, and the bolster. There are 5 pillows on that bed at the moment.
I was speaking per person.
So we have 2.5 because, or is that 2.25?
Because the bolster is
Because the
shared.
bolster, yeah, the bolster is the wall. You see, it's the wall between us.
It's the wall, not because we're keeping away, but because it has that weird, if you turn to your side and it's either this is not landing on anything or it's wrapped the whole time and then later it feels heavy. So it's a support pillow.
I do not understand how people can sleep on their sides. That fascinates me because my left arm, I never
It
know what
gets
to
numb.
do with the underarm, and then it
Mhm.
just dies. So admittedly, I've been like using the bolster as a prop.
It helps. It helps. It allows you to ease up
It
the
gives
weight.
me some space.
It allows you to distribute the weight to your chest, to your shoulder.
Thoughts on memory foam? Have
Okay.
you gotten to try? Because you got for your dad before, right?
Yeah.
They're expensive, those nice memory foam pillows.
I liked sitting on it. I didn't like sleeping on it.
How come?
Because it folds, no, not folds, but it molds around you.
Yeah, but it's like more rigid, right? It's supposed. I mean, that's the logic
So
of memory
it's
foam.
soft enough to mold, and then it
And then
stays
it's
rigid.
supposed to, hold at some
But
point.
then for me, tuloy, it feels warm.
Mm.
And I guess maybe I'm just used to the pillows that you can fluff, so it's a cool side next and stuff. But memory foam, you're not supposed to flip them around. So I
Yeah.
wasn't too happy with it.
Yeah, Mon argues that it's too expensive for the benefits, which I feel is true. Like for the promised benefits of memory foam, it's probably not enough. And then if in case that you don't, if what's this, you need a CPAP,
There's a specific pillow.
your
for that.
memory foam is still not gonna solve
Yeah.
that
There's a
That's
specific
different.
CPAP
pillow. But that's
friendly
really,
pillow.
but that's like because of the hose,
Yeah,
right?
it has that little elephant trunk-like area to hold the hose and keep it from hitting the pillow. Because if we ipit yun with the machine, and it's gonna be
Yeah,
weird.
that's like our biggest juggling thing is that
Mhm.
Toby does have a large like,
But
hose.
memory foam to sit on is nice because it cups the butt.
or like I like memory foam in my shoes. And like when they do those pseudo memory foam paddings inside soles.
Yeah.
Skechers had a lot of these.
Aaron shares, you can't wash it, it dissolves.
Wow, that's fascinating.
I thought there was a way to wash it, but it was a very specific way.
Maybe you just spritz it with
Yeah,
alcohol.
parang ganon. And then you let it in the sun.
Air sun dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adrian feels that memory foam is too warm. And I
Yes,
get
see-
that. It's the because you get wrapped in.
Although they claim that it's porous enough to let air pass through, I feel it's not for a humid country.
Maybe there is the fact that the Philippines is just not fun. Like tonight, it's quite humid.
It's the same reason why the Philippines can't serve wine in room temperature. Because in Europe, room temperature is cold.
Well, you know, you can theoretically still have wine at room temperature and like feel murderous intent. I don't know.
And then what else? You had
Do you feel like you have trouble sleeping away from home?
yes, absolutely. In fact, when I'm not home, I'd rather sleep on the floor.
Why? Yeah.
Because if it's not going to feel like the bed I want to sleep in, then I'd rather have a rigid, cold platform to lie on. Because I guess I've gotten accustomed to that back in my ROTC and CAP days. We're in military camp and all that. You just lie down, and it's you know it's not going to be comfy, but you
So
accept
butch.
it.
Oh my gosh. Mon's like, St. Luke's Hospital has really good pillows. Anyone know their supplier? I agree. And did you know
that you
that
bring them home
that you can bring the pillows home?
because they're part of what you paid for.
you paid for them. Otherwise, they dispose of the pillows after. So
Yes.
I had family who had to go through St. Luke's in the last few years.
Always bring your
And we
pillows
brought home the pillows. And
And
then
not just the pillows, though, pati yung blankets and stuff. But the pillows are the only thing worth
yeah,
it.
but just get the pillows. Don't get the bedding. But the
Yeah.
pillows is like most important.
Karen shares.
Sometimes falls asleep in cinemas. It's scary when you're alone. Pre-CPAP,
I do that too.
Toby would fall asleep in the theater all night. And we already mentioned that we used to do like watch last full shows together.
Mm.
Like we'd walk
That's
over
true.
to
That's
Central
true.
Square and catch a movie. And then the problem is Toby snores. And if it's if the movie is not doing well, then I'm like, Toby, no. To be fair, we've had the same challenge in live stage plays.
Yes.
And I know it's also because it's a struggle of a play. We watch the repertory kids play again after a long night at O-Bar. So midway, we're gonna be like, but yeah, we there is the advantage of us being together all the time, so we're always nudging each other, like you're okay. So
Or the trying so hard to open the foil pack of a candy quietly so that I can.
you're not supposed to.
But sometimes the sugar helps wake you up.
Yeah, I know, but there's like if you look at the repertory Philippines like playbills, they have this antiquated reminders of the theater, which includes don't eat candy with crinkly wrappers.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Oh, I missed something where Tom mentioned chocolate and wine.
He was referring to temperature.
I see. Okay.
Mitch is like, there was a time she was so tired and sleepy, she stayed in the corner and slept. The rest are going around Taipei 101. Mitch, we've also had many game nights where you retire in a corner and then we're all playing around you, but you're asleep in the corner. It's okay. Asian pillows from St. Luke's. This is a reminder to everyone, guys. Take home the pillows from St. Luke's Hospital. I can't vouch for all the hospitals.
Yes.
But St. Luke's,
yes.
good stuff.
So we talked about sleep, we talked about waking up, we talked about sleeping habits, what you wear, what you eat.
Snoring.
Let's talk about
Why is this such a long episode?
night terrors.
I have never had night terrors.
So
because I barely remember my dreams. I mean,
but this includes sleep paralysis.
I've never experienced
So
sleep
you've never.
paralysis.
I've had so many experiences of sleep paralysis to the point I was freaking out at some point. But it's really scary because the main point of sleep paralysis is you wake up but your body's still asleep. So it's you waking up but then you can't move. You feel like it's hard to breathe. You feel like your body is missing, or worse, you feel like you're away from your body. And then yes, there is this distinct feeling that there's someone else in the room.
Wow.
Sometimes you actually think you see a figure standing in the room, but um, from my many instances of feeling it, the biggest solution that has always worked for me was to move the smallest toes and fingers, because by forcing yourself to move the small digits, it's like it starts spreading that you feel your body. And it's interesting that it really works. Because before, when it happens, I start trying to scream. And what happens, it's these weird sounds that I make when I'm in these night terrors. And um, it even gets scarier when you're suffering the night terror and you're trying to scream or move because you feel like you're really trapped.
Have you had this like in the last few years? You think
There have been some instances.
still some? Have you still had them post CPAP?
Post CPAP, so far, no.
Hmm.
But there were a number of them, and they tend to happen with stressful situations. So, like, there were a few night terrors that happened when you were on a trip and I'm home alone.
Hmm.
There were a few night terrors that happened because I'm worrying about something, and then I wake up midway, and so it's stuff like that. They rarely happen in any sleeping occasions outside, meaning like if it's a team building or overnight at work, it rarely
Okay.
happens. But it tends to happen on places where you feel more secure or more calm, but then you're stressed. So there's that moment of that.
Oh, Rich can relate. He's had a few instances of sleep paralysis,
Mhm.
and it's horrifying.
It can get horrifying. There was a point in time that I was having night terrors parang for 4 consecutive nights.
Hmm.
So I was literally starting to go, is this something else? Is this ganyan ganyan? But then I started to realize that um, one, dehydration is always a factor. Two, I was super stressed. I was There was a lot of teenage drama. So I because syempre, when you read about night terrors, you have the flip side of the conspiracy write-ups wherein it's aliens, it's the men in black, it's the lamia, sorry, not the lamia, the succubus and the incubi lying on your stomach or your chest, etc., etc. But then you look at the more specific ones, and your body's just asleep. You woke up before your body woke up, so now you're freaking out.
Hmm. Okay. I have never. I mean, I've had my share of stressful time, but I've never really had stuff like this,
Mhm.
which is interesting. I mean, like for me, it's always once I get to sleep, I can sleep, and then waking up used to be a lot harder than it used to be now. And then, but I've always been the type of person that once I wake up, once I'm
Mhm.
like I'm conscious,
Mhm.
I'm awake now. It's hard to get back to sleep. I'm better off just
Mhm.
staying awake, and I'll push it until the next day, and I just feel yay, I can read more. You know, I can get more things done. But I mean, I'll be miserable. I'll be lower energy than I'd like. But yeah, none of that.
And then there's lucid dreaming, which we will save for the dreaming episode.
Which is the Toby episodes. I really don't remember my dreams. I mean,
we'll save that. We'll save
I've
that.
had a few very stream of consciousness. Whereas Toby, oh my god, Toby's telenovelas in his dreams.
Yeah, my dreams are fun. That's super worth. Yes, Rich. I used to record my dreams. There was a time I had a journal and I filled it with my dreams. Then I started to freak out because I didn't recognize the handwriting. Um, but then, as Rocky will share, there is a second person
Of dreams and shadows.
present when I'm asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that in another episode, I guess. Oh my gosh.
But yes, we will have an episode devoted to dreams.
It is also technically a requested topic, also by Carlo.
And this early, just a reminder, because it seems we have some new names, we do accept recommended or requested topics. Later, we will flash the link. So if you're enjoying, oh, that's a good timer. So if you're enjoying the show so far and you think you'd like to catch more episodes of us talking about anything we find interesting, and you have topics you want to share, don't hesitate to recommend them.
Yeah, I mean, like, we don't know what we're going to do. Like, when we say, okay, we'll just talk about sleeping,
Mhm.
and then We don't have a plan.
And again, this episode was a requested topic.
Good job, Carlo, who's not here.
Who's not here right now, sadly.
He's probably asleep. Haha!
So Mitch shares, I had one episode. I woke up from a nap suddenly, and then there's a loud bang.
But her legs were still asleep.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah,
Alfred. Yeah, sleep
I have
paralysis.
never
is freaky.
had any of these things. I don't know why. I mean, not that I want to, but yeah, there's slight FOMO, like
Mhm.
fear of missing out. In case you don't know the acronym.
It's not F all my orifices.
No. Oh boy. Okay, so, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess in that sense, sleep has always been very functional for me.
Mhm.
Relaxing, definitely. Enjoyable, sure, but largely functional. But yeah, oh, and then I didn't even answer my own question, but about falling asleep away from home.
Mhm.
It's tricky. It's definitely tricky. I'm okay with when I'm staying over my sister.
So the term is the mamahay. No?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's funny because like especially the last few years, like it means I sleep on an air bed, which you think would be not a great thing. But there was a long period in my high school life that we all slept on air beds, so we just kind of like
Mhm.
got used to it. So it's actually kind of comforting. I actually have a harder time with some hotels, or and especially if the pillows are extra fluffy.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it just doesn't work for me, and it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Same. There are times I even use the thick blankets or the thick bed sheets as the pillow
Mm.
because I can sort of control it more than the pillows. Because I hate it when the pillows are too
Then they
yeah.
then they make a sandwich.
And then worse, it's like the wrong kind of cold.
Mm.
So Karen asks, have you had the experience of a sudden jerking then wakes you up?
Sorta. I get that I kind of get. Like I have
The fall moment or the
and it's normally because it's my brain will ask the question, "What time is it?" Then I jerk
Mhm.
awake, and then especially if it looks like it is later than it
Mhm.
should be, and like the sun seems too high. Did I miss work? Things like that.
In my case, there have been cases, Karen, where it's the falling moment in the dream. You feel like you're falling, and then you think you're falling in real life, and you wake up.
I have literally fallen off the bed though.
We've had those. Yeah, I've had a lot of falling off the bed moments.
Rich says he's versed with pillows. Love both soft and firm.
Mm.
Flexible.
Some people prefer to keep the pillows on the side. Anyway, so
We're not side people.
but yeah, the sudden jerk motion. Other times, Karen, that could be breathing related.
It's scary how so many things are breathing related.
Yes. Because you might think it's just your body waking up, but it's actually you struggling to breathe and you wake up because of that jerky motion.
What the? Okay, Mitch is like, anyone like had exploding head syndrome? You're about to go to sleep, but the sound of a snap.
And then you wake up, I guess.
Exploding head syndrome sounds like a fake medical condition from Theme Hospital, but I'm sure it's real. But you know how you ever play that game? I love Theme Hospital.
Okay, here. Exploding head syndrome is an abnormal sensory perception during sleep in which a person experiences unreal noises that are loud and of short duration when falling asleep or waking up.
Staccato.
I don't think we've ever experienced this. I know I've had not loud noises, but yung parang, did I hear the faucet dripping or did I hear something in the kitchen and those type of moments.
Adrian asks, what about sleep induced by medication? I have never taken anything deliberately to help me sleep.
I think
even when I have trouble.
Yeah, I think my closest to that
anti-allergy,
antihistamines, and the other alternative would be surgery. But it wasn't full asleep.
I'm sorry, the alternative is surgery?
I mean, when you're like
surgery,
drowsy.
Surgery.
Yeah, but it's still antihistamine. No, that's anesthetic.
Grave robber. Grave robber.
Rich says, excited for the dream episode. We're excited too, but we have to save that for a different episode because that will take a lot of time. Maybe we can do that for Friday.
Really? Just when like Noel was like, when we haven't been drinking with Noel in a long time, and then we're gonna talk about drinking on
Yeah, and
Friday.
then we'll drink afterwards and keep talking. Um,
So Mitch says she's had the exploding head syndrome when she's stressed. See,
mm,
stress is definitely complicates sleep, obviously, and it just tells you that stress has um, very many physical manifestations that can be scary. And Rich, you can't call me out for a repo reference in 2021 because you recognize the repo reference in 2021. Thank
and
you.
it's good.
We honestly have a soft spot for repo.
I hope it never gets remade.
Yeah,
It'll lose its charm.
it must be that terrible forever.
It's the same for me. It's the same with
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Now,
Yeah.
if it was remade, it loses a lot of its charm.
So okay. So Karen says she does take stuff for insomnia. It gives her weird dreams, and a lot of like things that try to manipulate you. Sorry, manipulate is the wrong term, but try to alter your like brain chemistry in that manner. Will have those effects. I have noticed.
I know. I have weird enough from mefenamic acid.
That's very different. That's for pain.
Yeah, but it makes me dream weird stuff.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you have statistical evidence to show that it is precisely when you take mefenamic acid that your dreams are weirder?
Or maybe I was just in pain. I think that was the wisdom tooth extract.
Maybe it's just stress and not the medicine you're taking for the stress.
That's true.
Okay. Adrian says his antidepressant meds knock him out for 16 hours and he's groggy for 4. Yeah, and then a lot of things for like which is for balancing, medical mental health concerns. It's challenging. Yeah, and it's part of the learning curve for getting used to it. And we have a number of friends who are on some form of regular medication here and there, and I know there's a struggle. There is. Okay. So Richie, he asked his partner to watch it, completely forgetting that he's not a super fan of gore. Then again, neither am I. I watched it for the music. How did we end up with Repo? It just seemed intriguing that there was a musical about.
I can't remember if you or I was the one who brought it up.
I think I saw it on a blog or something. And then I figured it could be something you would like.
Because I think the closest thing me connecting to it was. No, I think it was you.
It was me.
No, because I think.
And I just wasn't the one who burned the soundtrack to a CD.
Oh wait,
and played it in the car for so long.
Yeah, I think I get it. I think you were the one who introduced it, but then I got weirded out because there was another Repo Man.
Yeah.
There's Repo, and then there's Repo Man, and I'm like, wait, this is different. Yeah.
And then we watched it, and then while the movie wasn't the greatest, the music was fascinating and oddly hypnotic.
Oh, we should do that for Halloween.
What?
Repo.
And who am I gonna be? Because you're gonna be grave robber, aren't you? I'm not gonna be Paris Hilton. No. Anyway, Adrian is not too keen on the restaging of Pippin. It's not. I mean, I haven't seen the circus one in its entirety, but the performances I've seen are fun.
Yeah.
Mitch, does counting sheep help? I think the point of counting sheep is
It's
monotonous.
Boring. It's boring enough that you shut down. Because the other version of that was to read a boring book, and I ended up enjoying the book, so I woke up more.
I have never read a boring. Gotten to reading a book and it helping me sleep because I get engaged.
What I like now though is I could be reading in bed, but then I could tell when I'm starting to feel tired, so I close it now and I'm like, sleep na, because it's there now.
Of course, you reading in bed is your iPad.
Yeah.
I have the classic alarm clock. Oh, a reminder that maybe I should go to sleep of device meet head. Whether it's my Kindle or my phone, it will be like sleep na. No, I'm just finishing this chapter.
Because sometimes I can see Rocky's asleep and the phone's there, or the phone's stuck in a loop and you're already asleep. So I'm like, "Hala, sleep na." Ooh, we heard a sound, but our heads are not exploding. Um, yeah. What else? What else? What else? Did you ever have that? Um, you're trying to sleep, but then sometimes in the corner of your vision, you thought you saw something moving.
No.
Because I can't sleep in total darkness. I don't like total darkness.
Yeah, we tend to have a light on.
And even if like let's say it's a hotel or back with my parents to visit, I can't take total darkness. I need to like in the old room, which became Tracy's room, that is now the guest room, and I visit my parents.
Yeah, it's super dark.
I I either leave the flashlight on the floor, so it's not like shining in the room, but there's enough ambient light, just so that it's not completely dark. Because
Okay.
I don't like if it's completely dark. There's a part of me that's always worried I'll walk into things, I'll trip into things. More so with the CPAP now, I'm worried I'll yoink it and drop it, and that's a large amount of money shattered in the floor.
Wow. So Rich once fell asleep to Steven Universe ASMR, although that sleep didn't last as long as he had hoped. I mean, that's also like my recent experiment with white noise soundtracks, and like, does it help?
I'm confused with ASMR because some talk about it for sexual things. So is it sleepy or is it sexual? What is it?
It is pleasure for people for different reasons. So it can be sleepy, it can be sexual.
Hmm, okay.
But I feel like the sleepy side of it is closer to white noise.
Okay.
Are there a bunch of people talking like this?
It's just whispering. Yeah, should we have
Karen's tried gravity blankets and they felt suffocating, so they don't work for me. I remember you post about that, the whole weighted blanket experience, and it really
there was
depends.
a time I liked. Remember, we still have the old comforter because I like that. I didn't like the weighted blankets. The comforters were fine for me though. They were just enough weight, but they were just so much effort to maintain. So
Oh my God, Jeanette's like sometimes on the toilet, all bleary eyed. I see dark toes wiggling at the corner of the bathroom door in the dark, or brown hooves connected to a woolly figure.
okay, I think I get what you mean, Renette, because there are times when I'm stressed that I keep thinking there's someone peering at the door or stuff like that, and I realize it's just your mind. What's the word? Hyperactive. You're still imagining things even if you're supposed to be shutting down.
Are you fresh from REM sleep? I don't know.
Or
Why-
or
why-
you're like you're near.
So
sleeping.
why do you keep trying to convince me someone's living in the bathroom?
Yeah, that's different. That's your secret neighbor who we vowed never to talk about. I'm surprised you're bringing it up now.
I am challenging his existence continually.
Yeah, we have a secret neighbor who lives
We
above
do
our
not
washing
have a
machine.
secret neighbor.
And during the storm, he was very terrified because his place was rattling so much. So he moved muna under the sink.
It's not under the sink. For Jeanette, ASMR is fun. It's like a scalp massage, not sexual. I guess it depends.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Although I like, it's not ASMR, but I like the stereo surround things, which can be used. Which some of them are used for sleeping, or some of them are used for storytelling. Wherein parang you can hear the sound going around you. And that sort of thing.
Like
I
Diablo? Wasn't it
that.
like
Actually, Diablo.
Diablo 2 had a great atmospheric.
I guess what I mean is I like how audio can be used to have that added dimension. And when it's tough for sleeping, and then you could like sort of hear the waves crashing from the right to the left, so it suddenly feels like it's all
Well,
around you.
we only have a single speaker in the room, and it's right beside your CPAP on your side of the bed.
Yeah.
So sorry. But it's fun. We can answer questions in the middle of the night. Oh boy.
Hey Google, any advice on how to sleep better?
Here's a summary from the website mayoclinic.org. Advertisement 1. Stick to a sleep schedule. Set aside no more than 8 hours for sleep. 2. Pay attention to what you eat and drink. Don't go to bed hungry or stuffed. 3. Create a restful environment. Create a room that's ideal for sleeping. 4. Limit daytime naps. 5. Include physical activity in your daily routine. And 6. Manage worries. To find out more, look for the link in your Google Home or Google Assistant app.
What the heck? Number 6,
Thank you,
manage
Google.
worries.
So that was Google with advice on how to sleep.
We still have the planned episode where we're just gonna talk to the Google Home unit all night.
Yeah. Adrian asked seeing things.
His pareidolia.
Yeah, it's something like that. But sometimes it's also because you're just still actively thinking of stuff. So when you look at something static and not moving, you start adding little details in the darkness or in the corners. Rich says, "Oh, fancy with that." Yeah. Well, we like how it's there to keep us company in different geeky moments.
It's also so that I can remote control Netflix on the TV.
But we haven't gone as far as making everything else smart, from the lights to the aircon and stuff like that.
Yeah, it just answers questions.
Karen asks, "Have you ever felt hunger while asleep?" Yes. Especially when we started the intermittent fasting, that was often something that happens. Water is the solution usually to, silence the hunger.
I don't think I've ever really woken up hungry,
Mm,
but
I think craving at most, because that's how it is for me.
well, I don't know. Well, I've been on intermittent longer than you. Plus, I swear, if you really get into keto, then your overall appetite dips anyway. So then it made IF a lot easier. So I don't have as much struggle as Toby does with it. But now we're both on the same boat.
Mhm.
Well, at least IF, not keto. Toby is still, as we say, keto adjacent, which means he is beside someone who's on keto. The hunger while asleep sounds like my partner. Expectation informs perception, says Adrian. Oh. Interesting.
What else? Any last things in sleep that is not crossing over to dreaming?
Crossing over to the dreaming? It's a changeling game. Which is why I never let Jeanette listen in when I watch Slapped Ham and other scary videos. I must ask the question, what is Slapped
Oh,
Ham?
that's the. Remember, sometimes I watch these videos about this and that, and it has that annoying guy talking.
That's like a lot of your videos.
Yeah, that's not. Because it's really. So I tend to watch them mute because I hate hearing his really sad ways of. It could be a monster or and it's this really nasal voice the whole time. It's annoying.
This is why this is the problem when you live on that side of the internet, I just enjoy theme park videos and dissections of 80s culture.
Okay, not you talk as if your theme park videos are not scary.
They're not.
There are scary theme park videos that you also watch. And you're editing, Mr. Dr. Pimple Popper.
I've moved on.
Yeah, I know. I noticed. Just when I was about to buy a board game that simulated it. But yeah, I guess the last thing I could bring up is sleeping in non-conventional situations. For example, I hate sleeping on a flight.
Oh,
I know that there have been flights wherein there's no choice. You have to sleep because like on some of our Singapore trips, that's like red eye flights. So we're like, oh my god, falling asleep. In some of the U.S. trips, they're thankfully so much faster now than before. But oh my god, I do still have memories of when it felt like I was there for more than a single day. Because it did pretty much take more than a single day to fly in the past. It was like, you're bored, you're flying, you watch your movie, you had your meal, you sleep, you wake up, it's another meal, you watch your second movie, you eat again, you sleep, you wake up, you're still in the flight, they're serving food again, when am I leaving? It really was a freaky feeling of just being stuck in there for so long. So I never liked sleeping on flights.
I haven't had many long hauls, obviously, in recent years, just Singapore. And then I try not to sleep on the Singapore flights. It got easier when I stopped taking red eyes and like, ooh, I can afford daytime flights now. But then so I end up mapping out like I want to be able to watch. I over the course of my flights, I can watch 3 movies, which means I can watch one full one and probably half of it, and then on the flight back, I'll catch the other half, and then one other movie because these are just 3-hour flights.
Mhm.
Okay, Kenny is now awake. Welcome to the stream. We're about to end. Good night. No, so
Rich asks how long do flights to the US take? Quick Google check. Some are as fast as 15 hours.
yeah, because there are non-stops to Los Angeles.
Yeah, but there are the longer ones. So, for example, the Washington flight is 23 hours and 40 minutes.
because it's DC on the other side of
Yeah.
the country. And but to be fair, because most Philippine flights would have layovers in Japan
and
or
Hawaii.
Hawaii and or
Sometimes
Hawaii.
it's both.
Sometimes it's both. I
Yeah.
remember, the first one was both.
And so there were the
And
two.
they're the layovers you don't get out of the plane.
Yeah, they're the 2 layovers. Plus, planes were also a bit slower there.
Mm.
So there was a time that it was a lot more hours. But yeah, nowadays it's a bit faster. Some even try to choose the ones that have a longer layover just so that they can claim they visited Japan too. Because there are some layovers like you disembark.
Yeah, then
And
you can
then-
at least get into the airport.
Yeah, and you can like buy stuff from Japan airport to say, "Hey, pasalubong from Japan."
But wait, so your partner is here? Is that trying to understand that, Rich? That your partner lives here and you're over there? That's tricky.
Hmm.
Okay. Alrighty.
Rich also asked Burger King foot lettuce guy.
I think he's referring to your slapped ham. person.
Yeah, probably is. We wouldn't know.
Is that why he's called Slap Ham? Do
Maybe.
you even know why the channel is called Slap Ham? Don't try to find out.
No.
This is why I watch Space Dog, like a sensible
I'm after the
person.
content, not the creator. I don't care about the creator.
Definitely not
It's just
supporting him on Patreon.
It's just like when I watch Ancient Aliens. I don't care about their philosophies or thoughts or the people behind it. I just am fascinated with how they come up with these stories. What?
Hey, at least mine's medical and real. Like my ear cleaning, medical. Okay.
What else?
Oh wow, he thinks we know his partner.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Fascinating. Well, it would explain why you're here. No, but
And do feel free to say hi.
yeah.
We're down to our 8 minutes on our third 30-minute mark. Actually, more because I didn't turn it on
But
earlier.
we should
I thought we
wrap
were
up.
closing. So we should wrap this up because it is still a weekday and it is 11 p.m. So we talked about unconventional. So wait, other unconventional sleeping. Sleeping in a car.
Oh, I have never had problems sleeping in a car. There is something about the motion of a car
I
that
have to admit.
put me to sleep.
When
And that's why I sometimes would struggle when I'm in the front seat. And you're always like, no, you have to keep me awake. Especially if we're coming home from Obar.
when it's those, yeah. But cars do I do like, and it's odd because I don't like the rocking motion from, let's say, a boat or a, because there was this trip I had to Cebu. So there was that you land at the airport, but then you have to take this small ferry to the island, and I didn't like it at all. But the car,
But boats are very different in motion than cars. to
yeah,
be fair.
it's just that you'd think that if it was just because there's some sort of rhythmic motion. The thing about the car with the sudden stops and the accelerations, I guess, was what makes it comforting to
I'd
sleep in.
almost always fall asleep in the car as a kid, and then it kind of carried on. And then it's now with you that I try to be more responsible and try to stay awake, which now translates to me reading more in the car. But yeah,
I did, however, I was the type of person who could sleep on a bus while standing.
to be fair, I used to be notorious for being able to fall asleep anywhere, and like even if I'm sitting up, and if I just tuck myself in, then I'll sleep. Or in school, I would have had the terrible. I fall asleep. I'm holding my pen and my notebook, and I kind of jiggle it. That I look like I'm writing. It happened a few times.
Jeanette mentions, how does one sleep on a flight anyway? In my case, it was either exhaust myself enough that I fall asleep, benefit from the not so good but still alcoholic wine that they do serve, just so that I lull myself down, The last option was to really choose a terrible movie. And then you're like, oh my god, this is so bad. And then
Is that why I fell asleep watching The Dead Don't Die? That was not great. But I made Toby watch it when I got back. I don't know, and obviously there's a height consideration in terms of falling asleep in a plane. Toby is not of the right proportion to fall asleep in a plane. I don't have an easy time either, and especially when I think about whenever I'm holding the ridiculous little pillow they give you on the plane, and like, how is this supposed? I never know like where are you supposed to put this. I end up tucking it under my arm because like when I put it behind my head, that just feels weird, and I just feel like this,
yeah,
and then like I can't like prop it on my shoulder and whatever. And then
Yeah.
I've had those airplane wraparound pillows, but then it just feels sweaty.
Hmm.
So I don't know, but I generally am able to sleep on planes. Push comes to shove. I just get paranoid about it because I always feel like number one, am I gonna miss the meal? Number two, am I going to miss the immigration card or something that's gonna come when we're about to land? So then I'm always like, gosh, I should be awake. I should be awake. So I try, especially on the shorter flights, I try to stay awake if I can. It's just harder on the red eyes.
Mhm. So yeah, so that's us talking a lot about sleep in all its
This
forms.
episode went longer than I expected.
At least no one fell asleep while watching it.
That we know of. We had a bunch of people who woke up though.
But yeah, I guess we can call it. Unless there's any last few questions, we are wrapping it up. Mid shares. I'm notorious sleeping in transit while traveling. Bus, train, ferry, plane. At least you weren't driving.
That's true. And that's a topic for another episode. Toby and his falling asleep escapades.
Yes. But I guess that's all the time we have. We are not yet falling asleep, but it is late, so it's best we close this episode. We had a lot of fun, and we hope you'll join us again next time.
If you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill out the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. You can follow us on Twitter, Altoby No Shade, RG Sunico.
You could also check out our blog, baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below. Let us know about your sleeping habits, attire, location, music, whatever. Just comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. And we don't have an episode. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, we're not sure about
We're
tomorrow.
not sure about tomorrow.
We'll find out if we'll have an episode
Our
tomorrow.
vampire game is not yet confirmed. One more player waiting. All right. But once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride.
Pride.
Good night, everyone.
Sleep tight. And remember, if you have night terrors, wiggle the little fingers.
Grave robber.